Hey, welcome live. You're here at Stolen 911 live stream. I've got a couple special guests with me. I got Mick O'Neill. How you doing, Mick? Let's try it again there. How you doing, Mick?
I'm good. I'm good, Mark. How are you?
We're gonna get through this. Mick's at Classic Car Detective on Instagram, and also we got Pat. And Pat's at Boosted Justice. How you doing, Pat? Poor Pat. Try it again. How you doing, Pat?
I'm good. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good. So I guess for some reason I can't have you both on there at the same time.
Oh, it's
No,
not
I
at a
do.
time.
Got you both on there. Mick, you there too?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You were there. All right. All right, you guys both there. Let's see. Move this here. All right. Well, okay, a couple things we're going to talk about today. We got a couple things. Appreciate you guys on live stream. You can find us at stolen911.com. I'm a private investigator, and Mick O'Neill's been around for a long time in the car theft industry. So is Pat. Pat, first off, we want to talk about that. What's going on? The Montana license plate crackdown, right? So let's talk about what you might be seeing. Luxury cars driving around with Montana license plates. I've seen this for a while in my world. Mick, I know you've seen it. Pat, I know you definitely have seen it. The Montana loophole is a common way for high-end vehicle owners to avoid significant sales and use taxes and registration fees. By setting up a shell company, LLC, in Montana, car buyers can technically register their vehicle there even if they've never set foot in the state. Since Montana doesn't have sales tax, it's a tempting trick for anyone buying a vehicle in a high-tax state like California or New York. The problem is that these high-tax states are now cracking down on the loophole, and owners face massive fines if caught. I just had a case recently where a kid had his like a 96 Skyline, a Nissan Skyline registered in Montana with the LLC just because he couldn't get it smogged in California. Pat, what are you seeing on this?
Yeah, absolutely. For a lot of years, it's been very, very popular, especially in the high-end car community. Also, like you mentioned, with the imported vehicles that are more difficult to get smogged. I've been hearing for a long time that the state had been looking into it and was compiling information, and I guess we're there now where they're actually filing tax evasion charges, which of a curveball. I wasn't quite expecting that, but that's what they're going with.
You said, I missed your last sentence there. You said they were filing what now?
Tax evasion charges. That's how they're going after it. Yeah.
And Mick, what has been your experience dealing with this over the years?
Well, very similar to Pat in that both individuals and even LLCs, well, of course, you have to get the LLC in Montana to help register the vehicle primarily, obviously, for financial gain. In other words, not to pay the sales tax and or the high registration fees in California, which I still believe, and maybe Pat can confirm that, is still about 10% of the sales price of a vehicle. So, you buy a $500,000 Lamborghini and you do the math of 10%, that's what your registration fee is going to be, in addition to obviously the sales fees in a state like California.
Yeah. I notice this stuff going on, for years now. I go to car shows. I see this. I'm driving around. Every time I see a Montana plate, it's not like seeing a Nevada plate, Arizona plate, or something like that. You see the Montana plate, you see it in a high-end vehicle, and you're thinking right away, just someone avoiding the fees, the taxes. And so, Pat, what's going on? What can you tell us about this current case that's going on?
To my understanding, they had they were looking into not only individuals, but specifically right now to start with dealerships that were assisting people in getting these LLCs set up once they bought their car. So that seems to be their primary focus right now. And they'll be moving to individuals. I don't know if you can pull it up, Mark, or if we have the info, but I want to say they were starting with 14 either companies or individuals that they were filing charges on for tax evasion. I think they were talking based off of the cars purchased, their value, at least $6 million in avoided taxes. And so that's the way the state looks at it, is that you're basically committing fraud against the state. It's tax evasion. And you know how it is with money. They're going to come after you. And I wouldn't want to be sitting in the courtroom staring down the barrel of tax evasion charges personally. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, doesn't sound like a good time.
Yeah, I think I actually have a friend who has a vehicle with a lot of issues that could not pass a smog check if it wanted to. And at this point, I'm just telling him, you need to sell it somewhere out of state because it's not even worth it. And I guess there are still places around there where you can get illegal smog done. And I don't, obviously, none of us here is condoning that. But, you're talking hundreds of dollars to do that, if not thousands. And even then, it's going to be sketchy. It's just a matter of time before they crack down on it. So I worked with a broker out on the East Coast regarding some of the transport thefts, and he's a big high-end broker, Lamborghinis and McLarens, and he said, a third of his clients were using that system to register their cars.
Well, part of the other part of this too is, particularly from the sales person's perspective, is that many of these entities, car dealerships, whether they be the typical Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche type of dealership, even they themselves may not be aware that some of their sales associates, in order to get that seal, are giving their potential clients the 411 in order to save them a bunch of money if they go about doing such a thing, and that helps them complete the seal. So if I'm a sales guy and I have a guy come, now you have to put it in perspective. It's not just every guy that walks off the street's going to come in there and spend, $500,000-$600,000 on an exotic car. But at the same time, when you have that sort of money to spend, my recollection of a lot of those people is that they will save a dime if they have to. That's why they have money. So they won't spend any more money than they have to, right? So if I'm the sales guy and I kind of go, hey, look, I can help you in this seal, save about, again, whatever the sales tax would be and the car registration. So let's just say, help me out with the math here. So a $500,000 car, right, with a 10% registration fee, that's what, $5,000?
Yeah.
And then you go into the sales tax, which will say it's LA County or wherever, and that's just throw a number. I say the sales tax in that particular case is 12%, right? So there's another $5,000 to $6,000. So overall, you're going to save, let's just say for argument's sake, $15,000 on that seal.
Some people.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these guys in the high-end sales market, whether it's a collector market, whether it's the exotic market, many of them are aware of the Montana loophole, as we call it, and so they're doing what they're going to do to get that seal. Now the big question becomes, is this something that the state or even the feds can get involved in to the extent where, is it organized, or is it on the individual? Is it on the dealership? There's a lot of work about the legalities of it.
Right. What? First of all, Mick, we're talking sales, not seals, as in the ocean, right?
Yes.
Mick, remember when you hired me as an old insurance job years ago? You hired me for a vendor, and you kept saying the word bender, and I was like, "What are you saying to me? I don't understand."
You know, vendor is it derives from the French, you know, vendeur, right? You know, so yeah, just remember this little accent here gets you far.
I know. I just mess with you. That's really good. So Leto's Law, Pat. I think I showed this to you too. He does a great. Steve Leto, an attorney, breaks down a lot of stuff, and he talks about the this issue, and can California legally go after these people? And basically, they can. The states have their laws, and California can, pretty much prove, if they can prove that you live here and that car's here most of the time. Now, I remember my friend flies private jets for business executives like that, and the jets are all registered in Nevada, and he would have to fly the jet to. They park the jet in Reno, and then when the executive needs a jet, he flies out there. He and his partner fly out there on Southwest to Reno, pick up the jet, fly into San Jose, pick up the executive, fly him wherever that, come back, drop him off San Jose, fly the jet back to Reno, because they have to keep the jet in Reno 6 months out of the year, something like that. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds right to me. I don't know much about aircraft. It sounds like a whole lot of work. It's kind of funny that it's after all that, it's still cheaper than California, right?
Well, that's what it is. Even that sounds like, to us it's thousands of dollars, and to them too. But to them, it's just like, yeah, it's cheaper.
Yeah, much
but
cheaper.
if you're in a position to rent a private jet, then obviously again you've got the money either.
Yeah, no, this guy actually owned it.
Yeah. So you're talking about the business who owns a jet, or even an individual that owns a jet.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. I mean, to me, when we talk about the cars, or I'm sure it sounds like it's the same thing with aircrafts. I'm not sure, but it's we got two separate things going on here. Sometimes they're combined, right? Where we, like Mick was talking about, where we have the tax portion of it, which is significant. Right, that's a lot of money, especially if you're spending money on high-end cars. And then you have the registration, which is definitely expensive. But Mark, you mentioned earlier that you see a lot of the imported vehicles doing this as well. So there's different reasons why different groups of people, it seems like, are doing it. I can tell you that I go to a pretty high-end Cars and Coffee regularly, and it's something that gets brought up to me by other people. It's also something I would say, just based off what I've seen, at least in this area that I'm going to, I would say anywhere between, I'd say a good 25% of the cars, if not more, are registered either in Montana or another state that facilitates this.
I'm getting someone texting me right now saying, if you have the money, pay your taxes. So
yeah,
that's, but there's all sorts of ways to, if you have a business, stuff like that.
The other thing too, Mark, is, and this is where Pat kind of comes into it, Pat's employer comes into it, and that is that if you're driving on the street, if you're up in Malibu or Santa Barbara, Monterey, and you've decided you're going to go up there to, the Monterey Miglia or whatever the case may be, and you're in your Montana vehicle, I mean, unless you commit some sort of a traffic infraction where, say, you do get pulled over by the police, and I would go as far as to say, quite frankly, that many of the police departments are not as familiar with this, particularly unless the word is getting out to many of them. CHP, I would believe, would be probably more aware of it, simply because it is the state. But I mean, if a guy gets stopped, say he does a California roll and stop, typical little infraction, he produces his license, and there it says, Joe Schmo, 1234 PCH Malibu, and it's a California license, but he's got a Montana-based registration car, he's going to turn around and say, "Hey, this is all my business, right?" Um, there's a lot. There's a lot that has to be done. I mean, Pat would know this better, but the CHP can't turn around and initiate then a
Uh,
criminal investigation.
I'm the only CHP guy here, Mick.
Right. They can launch an investigation into whether this was a fraudulent sales tax or scheme.
Actually,
right?
yeah. So basically, it's foreign registration. If an officer gets wind that if an area office gets wind that there's a vehicle registered to another state, but that vehicle is always like I'm in Morgan Hill, California. So there's a guy down the street. He's got his trucks with Oregon plates on. His trailers, Oregon plates on. His trailers got California plates. Or his trucks have Oregon plates on it. He lives here. Those trucks are here all the time. The Highway Patrol could start sending out warning letters, and then do an investigation, and basically, if they want to, they can present evidence that he is avoiding California registration because his trucks are here most of the time, and he actually lives here. So so certain agencies. Maybe a small department might have an officer that specializes in it, just like maybe departments have a commercial officer, like big cities like San Jose. Obviously, the Highway Patrol does. So they would task out a specialist at something like this. But an officer could definitely cite it if he comes across enough indication to think that you have been, if you're trying to avoid your fees.
Well, but you have to have that. In California, I think it's still the same. Where if you are residing in state for more than 30 days, you've got to get a California license, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's all sorts of rules.
So there's all sorts of. But I mean, if I turn around and say, "Well, yeah, I got my license because I work in California regularly, but I'm never in state more than 30 days. I'm a very busy guy. I travel all over the country."
Yeah.
So I think the way this is going to come down as more than on an individual driver perspective, the sense that I'm getting is that the state is probably doing its due diligence when it comes to these car dealerships, because what they have to do is to establish that there's a clear pattern of fraud on the part of the dealerships in order to facilitate these individuals from not paying state registration or sales tax, and B, whether it's organized in such a way where it could fall under the guise of a RICO type charge.
Oh yeah, and again, I don't know if the dealerships are maybe it's more brokers, which are a little bit may have the footprint out of the state, like my friend out in Georgia. Okay, let's go ahead. Sorry.
No. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's switch over. We're going to talk about some other stuff coming up, but in the world of auto theft, and all of us, the three of us, are entrenched in that world. This trend of the last 3 or 4 years of the auto transport thefts from has just taken over a good portion of my business as a private investigator and retired CHP auto theft guy. If you guys don't know, double brokering. Pat, you want to explain a little bit what's going on with double brokering?
Yes, essentially, that's all right. So essentially, what we have and what we see going on, and it's been significant for a number of years now, is criminals basically using websites like Central Dispatch. There's a few other websites where if you need to move a car, let's say you're a dealership or even a private individual who has a car that has either been sold or just you need it transported from one place to another. It's a pretty affordable place where you can post a bid. You can say, "Hey, I've got this is what I've got. This is where it needs to go." You post basically the job that you're going to have up online, and you have truckers. Usually in the form of what they call like a hotshot trucker, which that's what they do is transport. They come onto this website. They're a part of the website as well. They can look at the jobs and they basically bid for the job. And I would say typically whoever comes in at a good price is the person that somebody's going to use. And what they do is they take advantage of this. You can be a broker on this website. You don't have to be the truck driver or the company owner themselves. You can broker out jobs, which means you don't even have a truck. You take the job gets accepted, and then you find a driver. And they're basically using this to their advantage by using either false company names or company names that aren't a part of the website, or maybe companies that used to be in business, used to have a DOT. You can actually purchase those, and then jump in there and pretend like you're a legitimate business,
right?
With good reviews and everything. If people jump on Google and the internet and search the company, typically there's going to be some reviews, and basically they're going to pick up that job. They're going to tell you, yeah, we can take it where you need it to go. And in between, after they pick up the vehicle, in between, they're going to reroute that vehicle, and it's going to end up in the wind.
Right. So yeah, we have a bunch here on my site, and then like I said, I just had that one up there. So these three cars here, you got a what is that? Aston Martin, Ferrari, and is that a Lamborghini, a Urus in the front there? These are all captured on Street View in San Jose. Van Nuys, and these are all stolen via the shipping scam, a double brokering scam. And this is a post I did about a year ago, I guess, a year and a half ago, where these vehicles, one of my clients actually found the vehicles on Street View when he was looking for his own vehicle, and I made a post about it. It's at Stolen 911. And but this came from cargo theft originally. They were doing it with cargo theft loads, and then the crews learned how to do it with moving these exotic cars. So right now I have this case of this Ferrari taken from a storage lot in Irvine. Now the shipper was to the client in Florida, wanted the vehicle shipped out to Florida, and went through a website, a broker's website, who then dispatched the job to another company, Armenian-based, and I'm just putting facts out here, folks. This company that he used was an Armenian-based company, or with ties to Armenia, which I would avoid if it's out of the country, do not use it. And then they hired a local Armenian driver in the Van Nuys area to pick up the load. The load was supposed to go to Florida, but the driver, who, when I tried to talk to him, doesn't speak English, but he spoke to other people English fine. He stated to the police that, he was only supposed to take the car to middle of Los Angeles. But the victim was like, no, that car was supposed to go to Florida, and anyway, he ended up dropping the car off in downtown LA to some kid, probably a 19-year-old who shows up with a fake ID and picks up this Ferrari. Paid the driver. We know we paid the driver $1,100. That's what he was supposed to do. The driver took cash, and then I had witnesses there in the neighborhood in LA where they saw the driver standing around waiting, looking at his phone. Unloads a Ferrari, heads it up to some kid, and then I talked to the driver again. I don't speak English, and he puts me through to another company, Armenian guy, who just look, mister, I think you got the wrong people. I mean, it's the game. They're playing the stall game, right? I don't know if they're involved or not. I don't really, my point is that they made it really hard to investigate. Now, Irvine PD is doing a great job investigating this. We've come up on a lot of leads. I do know this, though, in this case like this. This is an Armenian-based crew. And in Florida, it's a different crew. In Northern California, it's a different crew. In LA, a lot of it tends to be Armenian-based. I know that these kids are being recruited at the sideshows, the street takeovers, a lot of car people there interested, and they're hiring these young kids to go out there and be the people that show up and pick up these cars. They drive the cars off for, a few blocks or deliver them to a parking garage somewhere where they get paid for their services, and the car's gone. And then they're either shipped out, VIN switched. I got lucky last year, Pat, you were in on that one where the CHP, I got this one's the shipping double brokering scam. Van Nuys, January 2025. We found it, in April, I think, about 20 miles away, parked in a neighborhood with a car cover on it.
Yeah, I believe so. And just a very interesting circumstance where a lady that lived in the area who would go out on her walks just noticed this vehicle sitting under a car cover that didn't belong and flagged down a local officer there and mentioned it, and good on him. You know, he had a little bit of training and knowledge on this stuff, and was able to eventually determine that the vehicle was a VIN switch stolen.
Right. So a lot of times, like a lot of these cars may be, gone already and a shipping container. A lot of them are sitting down in parking garages in high-end apartment complexes in LA, Hollywood, wherever, car covers on and mix in with other similar cars that people actually live there. Some of those residents are renting out their spaces to these guys for $300, $400, $500 a month that they could park these cars at because maybe they're not using them. And they don't know that maybe they do, but they don't know that some of these cars are hot. And you can store a car down 4 levels deep into a parking garage. No GPS is going to work, right? You're not going to get a signal. It's going to mix in with the rest of the Ferraris and McLarens and Urises that are around there. So it's a thing, but we get a lot back, but also a lot of them. I have 4 cars. Well, this will be another day, another topic. I have 4 cars I've identified in Dubai right now. And Mick, this is funny. I keep getting ad restrictions on a couple of my posts that mention a couple Lamborghinis I have, and where someone complained about the images I was using, and I thought, okay, well maybe I borrowed someone's image from a dealership, but no, I got the images. I have permission to use images, but what they don't like is I'm mentioning a couple VIN numbers, and when I looked at the when I looked at the source of the ad, because Google lets you see where the origin company is, it was from Armenia.
Well, that's a shock.
I know. So I'm pissing somebody off, and they're trying to ding me on Google for posting a VIN number, right? But so far, I've got 4 vehicles that ended up in Dubai in dealerships for sale. That'll be another story we'll talk about. But as we go on, folks, every Sunday we'll talk about stuff like this coming up. Pat, one of the things when we track these companies, you're talking about buying the DOT number and stuff like that, which, I mean, I really hope the feds really start regulating that. A lot of these companies are these fake little businesses that are just setting up a very similar name to a legit transport company. So but if you really look closely, the address might be different or a phone number might be different, right?
Yeah, correct. It's, one of many ways that they use to just try and trick people. Remember, it just has to be good enough, right?
Yeah.
Most people who are, looking to move a car, it's not something you're spending hours and hours researching, right? Everything looks good. You check it real quick. You accept the job and you move on. So it just has to be good enough, much like a VIN switch on a vehicle, right? Well, it has a VIN there. I see it, that the labels look good at most. That's what you're doing, right? The title looks good if they have one, and people are moving on. So it's the same principles that they're using. And yeah, it has to be just good enough. And I agree. Hopefully, at least they can work on tracking how they're selling these DOT numbers, because it makes it really difficult.
Yeah. I want to look at, Pat, you mentioned, I think you're the one that sent me this. So based on what we're just talking about, there's this story on CBS LA, and I'll put the volume up here a little bit. And it's basically hundreds of businesses registered in California may be fraudulent, an investigation finds.
What's the first place?
More than 3 million businesses
Head west, then turn left.
officially registering with the state last year.
An elderly care facility.
This is supposed to be a construction company.
Now we're heading to a spa.
But are all of them really open for business?
Definitely doesn't look like elder care.
Are they real at all?
Looks empty.
And if they're not,
Well, does it look like a
Now, Mick, you
Yeah.
worked around LA a long time. I'm going to give you one guess. What part of LA these guys are working in right now?
Let me see. Panorama City, Van Nuys, North Hollywood,
That's exactly it.
Glendale.
That
Yeah,
is
right.
exactly it. So check out
Well,
this map. Hold on. Check out this map they show.
More than 800
Woodland Hills,
fraudulent businesses
Watch
last
this.
year alone, all centered here in Southern California,
well.
allowing them to do
Is that the valley or what? Right there.
That's the valley.
Yeah.
So,
Most of the transport thefts, guys, most of the transport thefts that I deal with are all centered something to do with the valley, Glendale, North Hollywood, that area there. So go ahead, Pat.
Washington
Sorry.
Boulevard, all of those things.
Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah,
Pat.
it's just so funny how when I
or
saw this for the first time, how it lines up exactly with what we're dealing with on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Just based off this map right here. It's the same, it's the same scheme they're using. Just it just applying it to different things, and
This is and Mick, real quick, I'm gonna let you talk, but but they talk about how the state, if you follow the story, sorry, my cat's causing chaos. So if you follow the story, the state has this website, you register your business, and a lot of these people that names are being used are people that immigrants that were here and now they're out of the country. The one interview is a guy who's I think out in Scandinavia, and he used to live here. Another girl's in Thailand now, and now they have these credit. They owe the banks $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 because people registered these businesses in their names after they left the country. And they're not; these guys are going around knocking on doors and stuff like that. And these reporters, and they're just they're confirming that all these businesses are just kind of BS. The people at these addresses don't even know what this is all about.
Well, this is why California, particularly California, has at least anywhere between 3 and 5 billion, that's with a B, not with an M, $billion in fraudulent type activity take place on an annual basis. And, having worked, all over California, but specifically having worked all over the Valley area, you've got these types of houses that are geared to supposedly having patients in them. So I've gone out on car cases to where a car was allegedly stolen at a particular, say, residence. That residence, the garage has been turned into about 3 different bedrooms where they can put somebody in there, and the state will pay the caregiver operator, $2,500, $3,000 a month. And when you go out there, you kind of go, well, wait a minute, there hasn't been a car in this garage since 1976, right? Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that the car was supposed to be garaged at that location. So not only are they doing it with obviously from the motor vehicle aspect of things, but they're doing it with the healthcare industry and the home care industry and all of that. And it is huge money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going around. But again, this is like they're talking medical companies, childcare companies, anything that someone will get a loan for. You register with the state as an official business, and then it makes it easier for the banks to then give you loans. But they're obviously creating fake IDs and stuff like that of these people who once lived here. And the banks are giving them money, right? So, which is unbelievable because, whenever one of us try to get a loan, I mean, we can get it and stuff like that, but still, we always feel like we're always a little scrutinized, right? Everyone is. I mean, investigations I do,
under the microscope.
And I'm just like, wow, is it that easy to go out and get money? Can I go out and get $50,000 with if I made an ID with Mick's Pinky Blinders photo on it? I could get there and get right in there, right?
Yeah, well, if you're as good looking as I am, then you would get the money real easy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Also, Mick has are we gonna have an OnlyFans page here soon?
No. You pay me to keep my clothes on, not take them off.
Okay, all right. We don't have to.
No, but
you can use OnlyFans to talk about auto theft. We don't have to be naked.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But no, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, since we are the car guys in that sense, this whole system is designed in a sense to fail, right? I mean, it takes a long time from when somebody initiates some of these scams until it gets onto the radar of your local PD or your task force.
Yeah.
And that's usually only after some victim who got scammed is willing to go forward and say, hey, look, I was trying to save money, but I got scammed because, again, getting back to transportation companies where we started out there, so many of these vehicles were disappeared en route from one location to the next. And a lot of times people, if you get into the insurance side of it, they haven't insured the vehicle from the time they purchased it until it was going to go, they shipped out. So, for example, if you had a case where somebody online decided to buy, we'll go into my specialty. Say we'll do the number one stolen classic car, right? 64 Chevy Impala Super Sport. So let's say there's some guy in Kentucky is selling one, right? And there's always going to be some fool somewhere, and we'll put him in LA, who says, yeah, I want to buy that. He'll wire him the money. And the guy will say, okay, it's going to be on the transporter tomorrow. So even if the guy selling the vehicle is quasi legit, right? The purchaser sometimes will not insure the vehicle. So anything that happens between point A to point B, if that car disappears, the guy who purchased it is, SOL, right? And he's got no insurance claim. He's not got a car. He just spent, say, $50,000 to purchase it, and he doesn't have anything but if he's lucky, he has a title, and you better hope it's a legit title, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's like you said, Impalas are just huge. I've got so many on my website right now that it's just crazy.
Well, the 64 Impala, just to give folks who are listening in some idea, right? There were 889,000 and change 64 thousand Impalas manufactured in 1964. 889,000. That's a huge number of vehicles for a 64, right? Which means that there's a lot of them out there in various states of condition. But more importantly, there's a lot of them out there with no car, but with titles. And as long as you've got a title, you can insure it with any of the, shall we say, boutique insurance companies who would be more than willing to, and I know this will be a story for another day, but who would be more than willing to probably insure that vehicle for $100,000 with no photographs or no confirmation that the car actually exists outside of the fact that you have a title with your name on it.
Right. And real quick, Mick, did you see here? They're making U.S. postal stamps now with the Impala lowriders on it, which is pretty cool. I'm from San Jose, and it's a big part of our culture here.
Yes.
As the guy who used to be known as Hinchy Cabron by these guys would call me. That's a compliment, right?
Well, yeah, because I was known as Pinchy Weather, so
Yeah, but I meant they love me, right? They would call me Hinchy Cabron. That means they like me, right?
Yeah, Hinchy Cabron.
Okay, right? Just tell me yes. Anyway, so they got these lowrider stamps, and I'm sorry, lowrider guys. I was like, well, how many of those are actually VIN switched?
Yeah. Well, the good thing about buying those stamps is that you'll now see the car you want to steal, VIN switch, or insure without a title or without a car.
Yeah. So real quick, we were talking about the fake businesses. Before we add that, I just real quick why Pat. Those businesses are being registered with the state actually to get loans, to collect money, but guys are also doing that to set up these fake transport companies. Real quick, just want to end on that real quick on that part. Right, Pat? They're setting up these fake registered businesses to act like they're legitimate transport companies to do the double brokering scam.
Exactly, yeah. And then once they feel like they need to move on to the next company, they'll do it. Makes it very, very difficult to track. And just keep in mind too that, on this subject, one thing to point out is the amount of time that lapses in between, right? That's a very important thing. where if you're moving a car, we know, hey, it's going to take a few days, let's say, for it to get to its destination. So you have a lot of time where these cars can be moved to a lot of different places while the victim or victims believe that they're just still in transit, right? And so if we have let's just say a few days where we think the car's moving, and then we make some phone calls, hey, I haven't heard, did the vehicle arrive, or I haven't received my vehicle. And then, we're making phone calls and we're not getting a hold of people is typically what happens. And then finally, at some point, somebody decides that they're going to reach out to law enforcement. And oftentimes when they reach out to law enforcement and explain this story, it's very difficult for the majority of law enforcement officers to determine exactly what happened here. And a lot of times what people are told is, well, this sounds like, an embezzlement or a legal issue, right? And so it's, even though it's a stolen vehicle, the vehicle's been stolen, it takes a long time, and to get the vehicle reported as stolen, really, you need to talk to an expert. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Mick, what do we have here? I know you're involved in something as far as this vehicle. Can you go over the details of the
19?
Yeah, just details of the theft. What's going on? Where was it seen? Talk about the vehicle. Just what the facts are in the police report. This is your case, I believe, right?
As you know, you and I both. Yes, it is, and it still is. And in fact, we have an update on it. You had spoken way back in the day, around the same time I had spoken with the RO, the registered owner.
Remember, this is going to be public. This is going to be public.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So this was a 2019 Chevy Corvette allegedly stolen from the Venice Beach area of California. Just this week, in fact, I have, just this week, the RO reached out to me after several months and fell on his sword, apologizing that he hadn't been as cooperative with me as he should have been from the get-go. Okay, so that all being said, we have a lead now that this vehicle, and I have actually some photographs that I was going to send to you at some point here. We have some photographs where this vehicle, or a vehicle, should we say, matching this description, was seen at a house in Tempe, Arizona, and a liquor store in Tempe, Arizona. Right. And I have a couple of my contacts there with the Arizona authorities presently searching for the vehicle. This was a possible bin switch, and they are going to be checking DMV records to see if any 2019 Corvettes have been recently registered in the Arizona area. And so right now, this vehicle is possibly in Arizona. Okay. And I'll have some additional photographs for you to update to your website. We complete this.
Yeah, I received that same information, but it's your case, and I wanted to let you make sure. I actually told the person who sent me the info. I said, you need to talk to Mick. You need to talk to Mick. Mick. I go, whatever your relationship is, he's the one that. Mick's goal is to find the car, no matter what. Is find the car, and Mick has excellent contacts with the auto theft community in Arizona. So glad that's happening.
And so that's what obviously he did. He fell on his sword a little bit. When this case is concluded, we can go back to it at some time in the future as a good example case as to. In his particular case, what not to do, and what you should do. But we'll wait till the case closes. I'll be actually probably meeting with him probably in about a week and a half.
Pat, real quick on the other side of this issue, this car was originally stolen. Shows up on Instagram like this with a photograph. Can you explain what's going on here? This is right after the theft.
Yeah, so oftentimes the vehicle gets stolen. You talked about earlier, they'll take them to different places. There's a cool off period typically. Maybe some work gets done to the car as far as the VIN switch goes. And using various social media apps, Telegram, dark web, these things get posted up for sale. Oftentimes at a let's just call it a reduced price sometimes, depending on where they're getting posted. And it can just be a handful of thousands of dollars depending on the car, or if they're trying to make a little bit more money, they'll get posted up to Marketplace, Offer Up, different places like that under the false VIN, and basically advertises a good car at a good deal.
So in this case here, we're looking at a striker photo, right? The term is striker, and they're showing it on there, and their followers, who's ever following this account, it's basically saying, "Hey man, I have this up for sale." And like you said, the guy who steals it, if he's the one that actually stole it, he just wants to make a quick $3 to $5 grand, probably, right?
Yeah, correct. And you know what? Sometimes it's the guy posting it isn't even the guy who stole it, right?
Okay.
The guys who are out stealing the cars, that's their job. And they make some money off of that car. It gets handed off to oftentimes somebody that they work for or coordinate with. And that person does the work to the VIN switch and then actually putting it out there for sale.
All right. So again, guys, if you know something about this car, obviously you can call. It's on my website, Stolen 911. It's case 250116. If you go to Stolen 911, you'll find it there. Just search out Corvette. But also you can reach out. Mick is actually the lead on this one. This is one of his cases investigating it. You can reach out to Mick at Classic Car Detective on Instagram. Make sure you follow Mick there on Instagram, Classic Car Detective. A lot of cool car stuff. A lot of trips to South America. And maybe going through that account, you might explain Mick's accent. All right. So let's talk about, we're going to try to keep this to an hour. We're going to do this every Sunday morning, folks. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to talk about a lot of these cases. I got this Villa Park Mercedes-Benz AMG taken from a dealership down there in Villa Park, which is Orange County. That's a case. I've got a bunch of Impalas. A lot of these Impalas, man, I'm finding so many motorcycle clubs involved in these Impala thefts. I think they're just VIN switching them, stealing them in LA, then VIN switching them, moving to Northern California, registering them under the VIN number, stealing from the Valley. I mean, Impalas, man, that's a whole cartel, not actual cartel, but California. And the motorcycle clubs are, there's motorcycle guys behind a lot of this. White, black, all over. I'm seeing it. The multi clubs. Just this one guy's got a car under this VIN number. Then we find the car with this other motorcycle guy under this VIN number. It's just crazy. And National Insurance Crime Bureau has been a lot of good work on that. As you know, Mick and Pat, Dave Roccaforte from the NICB is all over these guys, and a lot of good cases coming up. We'll have more to talk about that. Okay, real quick. Let's move on to a different type of, I don't even know if we're getting to everything here. But I was just I just recovered a bunch of high-end cars out of a shop in Winters, California. And look, Winters Auto Shop owner convicted of theft after failing to perform work on multiple cars. This is a story of an auto body shop owner who takes in cars. In this case, he got convicted. Enough people complained that they weren't getting their cars back, and they were being, parts are missing and stuff like that. This is one of those guys who I call it robbing Peter to pay Paul. I know, Mick, you've dealt with many of these guys. Pat, you have. Pat, I'm thinking of CPR, the Porsche place that went down in Carlsbad. Was it Carlsbad or Fallbrook? Yeah.
Correct.
But I was up there in Winters. This guy got convicted by the Solano County District Attorney's Office. We had a court dates to go in after he got out of jail, where we can go and retrieve some of the vehicles. And you can read about the story. on my Instagram, I have pictures of picking up some of the cars. There's some classic race cars that were at the guy's shop there for years. The owner couldn't get them out. They just destroyed these cars. This classic Cougar here sat outside with its $30,000 motor in the elements. It did have a car cover on it, but it was not supposed to be outside. Here's another Buick. Here's a Camaro. Someone brought in for some basic work, and the car is just chopped up. A lot of the parts are missing. The work done to the car, we couldn't even do it. Got another Firebird here, same thing. Brought in for this, and all of a sudden the engine's missing out, wrong parts. The owner, the guy who convicted, is actually cooperating now. He's ordered to by the court. I think in this case he, get a little over his head. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Mick, what's your experience with this?
Well, this is very, very typical of what goes down with a lot of these shops that specialize particularly in the classic car stuff. And you're absolutely right. It's you bring your car in there to get, say, work done on it. Most people, and I say most, will go on kind of word of mouth. Hey, take it down to Joe Schmo. He works on those cars. Well, Joe Schmo says, sure, I'll do whatever the work may be. So whether it's mechanical, upholstery, whatever the case, he pays he charges $5,000 down to get work started on the car. Well, that $5,000 doesn't start on your car. That $5,000 generally goes to complete the work on the other car. It's kind of nearly like a Ponzi scheme, right? So he's constantly trying to bring business in, charging you some money, and using that money to buy some of the other parts and or do the work on the car till eventually it gets to a point where obviously he gets in way over his head and he can do no work on anybody's car because he runs out of money.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very typical scheme in a lot of these shops up and down Lancashire Boulevard, up and down Central Avenue in LA, all over the place, man. You're going to get this type of facility, and your car will. And I've had them down in the likes of San Diego County there where Pat is and stuff, where eventually the guy kind of has to walk away and the cars go missing. And so now not only does it where you don't have your car back and you don't have the work completed, then it becomes another insurance claim if you were lucky enough to have insurance on it in the first place.
Exactly. And Pat, what happened with the CBR thing? What was that back? That's another issue. That's the consignment, where a consignment shop disappears with the car.
Yeah, correct. They'll use consignment, and the car will end up disappearing. Mick really hit the nail on the head too. Sometimes this will take years. So I used to work in this industry many, many years ago. It's not uncommon for cars to end up in these shops, and throughout the course of their build, it can take a long time, and they kind of use that to their advantage. So a lot of the people that I've talked to in the past who had their car at a shop, by the time they talk to me, it's been years sometimes, and the shop is basically just stringing them along for a big portion of it, right?
Yeah,
and it's not hard to do. Meanwhile, like Mick was saying, it can be a money thing where they're trying to get money from somewhere else, or they're working the consignment fraud, or they're just delaying the inevitable, which is this person eventually trying to report their vehicle stolen.
So,
and sorry for jumping in, Mark, but I think it's really important to bring this part up, particularly when it comes to the consignment shops and stuff, because I worked a big one up in the Santa Clara area up near you. Several years ago, and one of the big scams about consignment shops is this. So let's just say, for argument's sake, and I forget, I had a Ford Thunderbird and one other one I can't just think of. Maybe it could have been a Porsche. So one of the things that the consignment shop will do, particularly the not so legitimate ones, they'll say, Okay, Mark. Absolutely. We will put your vehicle in prime window location to be able to show the car off. We'll put it on our web page. We'll do all of those things, social media page, whatever. Now, here's what we want you to do to facilitate this part of the business. Give us the title, right? And that way there, when we have a buyer, we can get that title transferred over really quick and you'll get your money. Well, guess what? The fools hand the title over and the business turns around and puts the title in their name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mick, real quick on this CPR, I learned about it. Two of the victims were frustrated. This was before law enforcement was really not talking to anybody at the time. A lot of complaints coming in. Two victims reached out to me independently as a PI who specializes in car stuff, just to try to get me to do it. And I was able to, say, well, now your car is registered to this guy, and another car is registered out of state to this guy. And I was able to find out, and then I get in touch with one of a rich guy down in Dana Point, I think it was. And, I was referred right away to his attorney, and he says, hey, he legitimately bought the car. But what she was doing, it says here, Andrea Nicole Doherty, 38, admitted to taking over $827,000 from customers during the years after she took over business. CPR Classic from her father following his death in 2021. The case I got involved in, this couple had their whole retirement into this 356 Porsche that they wanted at least $250,000 for, and given them to sell it on consignment. Right away, she used, I think from what I was able to figure out, that she used her DMV account as a dealer or whatever, broker or whatever she was, to then get the title in her name.
Yeah.
And then sold to this guy in, I can't remember if it's a Dana Point one or not. And now he's got it, and he thinks he buys the car legitimately. Right. And he did, but she never paid them the $225,000, whatever it's supposed to be, and she's going to take her $25,000 cut. I'm just talking. I don't know exact numbers here. But so she never paid them out. And again, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. She's got a business. She took over her dad's business. Maybe she just got over her head. I don't know what her other expenses are and stuff like that, right? And then I don't think she was meaning to actually disappear. It's just that it just got over her head. She just couldn't stop the avalanche in this case. And at some point, it just becomes crazy.
I have to. Well, yeah, you're
because she's so trackable. I'm just saying she is who she is. She's a real person. She inherited her dad's business. It's not like these crews doing the double brokering stuff where they're just all of a sudden they're back to their home country, and they're just using indentured servants to do the thefts, right? Yeah.
It's not rocket science to take a car on consignment and be able to sell it and to get your commission, which is obviously consignment. That's what it is. It's basically you're getting the commission on what you sell that vehicle for, and the person who is the legal owner up until the point of sale will get the money. So if it was $200,000 and she gets 25% cut, they get their $175,000. Everybody goes away happy, right? So it's not really rocket science. And so she realized, as you just pointed out, that she could go into her official DMV account and change the vehicle into her name.
That's my speculation. Pat, do you remember? Was that what she was doing? I know you talked to some.
I don't remember 100%, but I mean,
you talked to some DMV investigator on this, I believe, right? And I talked to an FBI agent about it.
Correct. Yeah. I'm trying to pull out from my memory, but I believe it was something along those lines.
I will bet you dollars to donuts that she had the victims give her the title to the car.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that these consignment people will consistently ask for. And the moment a consignment company asks you for the title to the car, that's the moment you walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sad thing with
I
this-
can't remember. I almost Mick. I almost think one of my clients had their title still. It's just that she. Again, I'm just. This is my. I could be wrong, and I don't want to. I don't have the facts, and again, confidentiality
You know what
on
else
the
they
case
do?
stuff
I
too.
guarantee you they'll get a duplicate title.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's paperwork, especially coming from somebody who
Paperwork.
has a DMV account.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very easy to do that.
Right.
And the sad thing about this shop and all the people and the victims that were involved is, there was a lot of trust placed in this shop. This place had a very reputable, they had a great reputation. Yeah, it was a place that people sent their cars from all over, and they had a great reputation. And when it changed hands and the father was gone, things started to change very quickly.
Real quick. I just want to read over a couple of the things. She ended up pleading guilty 3 counts of wire fraud related to 3 vehicles sold through CPR Classics. The U.S. Attorney's Office said 1 Porsche was sold to 2 separate buyers. Okay, there's your intent, Mick, right there. There you go.
Thank you.
And Doherty accepted payments from both without informing or paying the seller. Another time she agreed to sell a car and took $280,000 from a buyer, but did not give that money to the seller. I believe that was one of my clients. And she later took $275 from another buyer and used part of the money to pay the seller.
So,
yeah.
She didn't get in over her head. She realized, being
And she's-
a young individual as she was at 38
Yeah.
years old, having been around the business to a certain degree with her father, her father was probably an upstanding citizen who was well respected, as Pat said, in the industry for a very long time.
It really was. If you talk to the old people that know CPR, they said it was a really good shop.
Yeah, and I heard of CPR and I knew of CPR, but his
And
daughter
at
realized-
our age, Mick, we're going to need CPR.
well, especially you, but yeah, no kidding. Yeah, she realized this wonderful loophole, and quite frankly, it comes down to one very simple word: greed. She found a way, and suddenly saw hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in, and thought to herself, "Hell, I'm not giving that to those people.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it."
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate it. So it's been an hour. We've just gone over an hour. We'll try to keep it there. I think that's, we all got lives. Mick, Pat and I are just waking up, the California sun out here.
Yep.
And, but man, I appreciate it. So we're going to get together every Sunday. We try to get every Sunday morning, California time, 8 a.m. We'll talk about the cases. We'll cut these down into some smaller videos and post them out based on the topic. Keep looking at Mick there. You guys won't look at me. But look if you want, make sure you check out Mick's Instagram, Classic Car Detective. Man, you're going to find stories on there all over the world, South America and overseas. And Mick knows everybody. And he's really big in the auto theft world, been around. Mick, I'm still waiting for you to find James Bond's Aston Martin, because that other guy says he knows where it's at, but I still haven't seen it yet. I think you actually know where that car's at. Tell us about your book plug there. You were mentioning a book earlier.
Oh yeah. So just so everybody knows, and I'm actually going to send it to you on audio. There's a great book out there.
Oh no, I want the hard copy signed
hard copy.
edition,
I have a hard
which
signed
we
copy.
will be selling at stolen911.com.
There you go.
And I'm
so actually, this is somebody who we want to get on, hopefully on a Sunday morning. Is an author, former Rolling Stones writer, and author, Staten Bonner. Okay, and he wrote a book called The $1 Million Car Detective. Not me, unfortunately, but by a guy called Joe Ford, who was a detective PI who got involved in the case on a $1 million car. It's a really interesting book. I say that because I'm prominently quoted in chapter 13 and 14. But that be that as it may, that's enough reason why to. There you go. There it is, right there. The $1 Million Car Detective, Staten Bonner.
That's you. No, that's not you. Okay.
That's not me. That's me there on the right. But yeah, this is really is a very good, interesting story. A great book. It's got Lou Colvin, who worked with NICB. It's got a couple of other guys in there, and as I say, I was prominently displayed in chapter 13. Very nice part of the book. But this is something that is a great read. So get it on audiobooks. I don't get any money out of it. Believe me, I wish I did. But I get it on audiobooks or whatever. But this is this author here. I'm going to, Mark, at some point send you his phone number, and we should put him on a Sunday morning.
We might just replace you with him.
I know where you live. You know, I have no problem kidnapping Momo. Okay.
Oh, Momo. Reggie's right here too. They're both cats are right here. Hey, Pat. I'm not going to show your Instagram yet because it's a new one. There's nothing on there yet. So make sure you start. But you're going to start finding some cool auto theft related fraud stuff at Boosted Justice. Very cool name. That will be Pat's Instagram. So you can check that out. And then obviously for me, I'm at stolen911.com. I'm a private investigator, retired CHP auto theft investigator, and I do a lot of custom cases for auto theft, fraud. I got this Villa Park Mercedes. I've got all sorts of stuff. If you had something stolen, just go to stolen911.com. So we're going to be here every Sunday. Please give us a shout out, and thank you for watching. Pat, Mick, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
See you guys next week,
Right,
and then
guys, I'll talk to you next week. I'll be in LA next week, so I'll talk to you.
Okay,
then.
stay on the. Yeah, hold on here, guys. We'll be right back. Bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay.